right, welcome to the Bhangra Social, where while we're all in lockdown, I'm going to hit up a few of the biggest names in Bhangra music and maybe beyond, and kind of discuss their top fives. It could be top five anything, albums, singles, I don't know, places to eat, places to visit in the hometown. And the first guy we're going to be hooking up with is one of the most prolific music producers of our generation, and it is Sukhjit Singh Alt, aka Tru Skool. How you doing?
Yes, Dips. Nice introduction there, mate. Appreciate that.
That's all right. So we are going to go through a few top fives. Do you know what? Everyone knows each other's stories. We don't need a life history, so let's get down to it. So the first one is Tru Skool's top 5 tunes. So these are top 5 tunes that you have produced. Like, there'll be plenty of people going, oh yeah, put Jatan number 1 or Kharkul's number 1 or whatever. But I want to know, out of the tunes that you've made, what are your top 5? So, what's your number?
Before I say,
yeah, go on.
I just want to say, like, I to be honest, it depends on the moods for me, because I've got so many songs that I'm happy with, you know. Otherwise, I wouldn't put them out, you know. So these tunes, yeah, they are part of my favorites, but I don't think I've truly got a top 5, but I'm going to mention 5 that are part of my favorite ones.
So number 5 on your list is Jack Denege alongside Good Page Barad. It dropped in 2011. Big tune, man.
End of 11 November. Yeah, I mean, that song, for me, it really represents what my style is and what my influences are. You know, what my tastes of music are, because there's funk in there, there's hip hop in there. There's Gurpej's vocal, raw, desi, folk. I mean, he sang it like a gangster. And then the ball element, the tempo, 98 BPM, that was like me and Specialists that's what we're known for, that tempo, when we came in on Word is Born, and then we repped that for many years. That's a big part of our sound and my sound. And to Jack Denege, the tempo and the sort of directness of the song is very hard hitting. So it's funky, but it's hard at the same time, and it's raw, So that song, if you want to know what Tru Skool's about, that song is definitely one. I mean, when you hear it at the moment, when the tempos that are in fashion are like, the mid 80s sort of things, or late 80s tempo. So it may seem a bit strange, but for me, that is what I'm about. That. But then there's other songs I could have mentioned in that vein, like Jar Bolnya. I didn't mention Jar Bolnya, and I've made so many other songs in that tempo. So I could have easily said that over this one. So that's why I said it's hard for me to pick 5 favorites. But that song is like many other ones I've made. It represents a type of style of mine.
And it, when I spoke to Diljit Dosanjh, I think once he kind of went into that lost phase of I'm not quite sure what to do, and kind of wanted to hook up with you, that was the song that inspired Diljit to go, that's the guy I'm going to work with, and Jo Mardi because of Jack Denege.
He heard that on YouTube, and he's like, I want this guy to make my album, because he'd already heard my music. And him and Honey Singh were actually like listening to quite a bit of it, because there was some influence on an album they did together, which I kind of knew that was the case. I could tell what was going on there. And then Diljit confirmed that, yeah, they were listening to quite a few things like JK. They were quite influenced by JK and stuff like that. And Shalim Mundia in particular. And so Diljit, when he contacted me for his album, I wasn't like quite sure. I was like, how come he wants me to make his album? Like, couldn't see the connection. And then when he mentioned Jack Denege, he goes, look, man, I go, how come why? Like, and he's like, that song. And when he said that, I was like, yo, he likes a song that really sort of represents what I'm about. So, that was definitely the right thing to say.
All right.
Basically happened because of that song.
So in at number 4 is a song that I think a lot of people will be surprised and might go, oh yeah, I ain't heard that song in ages. It's from the Word is Born album, Mama De Potte. Tell us a little bit about this. Why is this in that number 4?
Mama De Potte Sher Gabru, sang by Kalvinder Jaur. on our first album, Word is Born, by Specialist and myself, Tru Skool. That was actually my favorite song of that album. So for like a good few albums, for years, that was my favorite song I'd ever produced. You know, so we're going back to the beginning, because you got to understand, before Word is Born even came out in 2004, I'd been producing for many, many, many years, and I had libraries of stuff. And so when Word is Born came out, there was so much that we've missed that didn't get to go on there. And Mama again, that was, I was like, yo, if I'm making one song that's going to put everything in what I'm about, like, you can't get everything in there, but I was like, almost everything, you know. I thought, like, so the hard drums, the hip hop stuff, the bass line, the background music, the lagodje, the mandolin dark pieces in there, the bad boy tumbi, you know, the Joel's vocal, the composition, the lyrical content, you know, my mother, because we're not into, like, they're the kind of lyrics we're really into, you know. And so, like, you know, the sitar pieces in there, so there's a bit of classical, there's a bit of everything in that song, and it was hard, you know, it's a hard hitting beat. So for me, that is like, again, it was about, I mean, it's actually quite similar to Jacqueline, but slower tempo wise, you know. So that's why I'm picking these songs.
Cool. In at number 3 is a tune that it just still it drops, and I can't see there a time period where any DJ will ever say, yo, this tune doesn't drop. It is hard, it is firing, it is the sound of UK Bhangra. It is Pom Pom the Music, which you released in 2017 with JK, man. Big tune.
Thanks, man. And we didn't know that was going to do so well, because that was part of JK's album, his second album that I was producing, which ended up getting cancelled, so it didn't come out. That was going to be on the album. When the album dropped, you would have heard that as one of the songs, because when I make an album, I like to have, there needs to be a complete story to it, you know. There's got to be all sorts of songs on there, as you'll notice if you go back and listen to my albums. So we didn't want to put that as a single, but because of Bagi Tera Yaar, the single before that, because that was so traditional and desi, I think people weren't sure which direction we were going in. I think they thought, oh, they only do that now. And I was like, no. So I said to JK, I was like, let's get that out next. And so we did. I mean, again, I'm picking these songs because they're about my tastes. You know, There's influences of Shabba Ranks in them, Mr. Loverman, and the ragga influence in there, and the piecework and JK's composition. You know, for me, it's just it's one of those tunes. I think it's always gonna sound good.
That second piece, right? So this is a personal thing from me. So the song's going along, it sounds you guys, and then that second piece comes along, and it's like a santoor kind of vibe, and it's all almost drops into romantic. And I'm like, yo, that's like some neck switch, man. What was the thinking behind that?
Good question, Dips. That was, and I wanted people to notice that, because I just felt that's an instrument that I like. I actually played that on the keyboard, so it sounds like a real santoor, but I've got this wicked plug-in sound. Obviously, you can hear it on the song. So when I played that, I was like, you know, I want to showcase this instrument. And I think Bali Sagoo's used it in the past as well. So I wanted that. So it worked with the reggae thing. And I wanted to showcase that instrument. And I wanted to see the song. Yeah, it's not really in Darbari. You can say it's in Kafi as well. So I was like, well, you can even say it's, yeah. So I was like, where should we? I wanted a Darbari influence. So I thought that instrument, I'll play a Darbari kind of piece. And I made that within seconds, that piece, and played it in on the keyboard. And I just wanted to bring that musical aspect to the song, rather than it just being very direct with the beats and, you know, tumbi kind of pieces. I thought I want a bit of melody in there as well.
All right, talking about direct, in at number 2 of your selection of top 5 tunes that you've produced is the monster anthem, Pujatande, dropped in 2013. Good Page Barad, John, JK, and the legend Surinder Shinda. I mean, I know you, and I know how much you love the original. So producing this, was it a Was it a mission because you wanted to do the original justice, or was it, yo, I'm gonna put my own spin on it? What was the vibe like doing Punjabi?
There's a whole story behind this. I mean, I don't think we've got time for it, but I'll try and summarize a little bit. So that's part of a Punjabi film called Pot Jattan De, aka Jatt Boys. Yeah, it was called Pot Jattan De Jatt Boys. So I thought, oh, they're remaking like the classic film. And Pot Jattan De actually is that and Jiti Rorte are my two favorite songs of all time, which I haven't put in any list, right?
Yeah.
I'll explain. So I was like, that song's like introduced me to Punjabi music. So I was like, and me getting to make Pot Jattan De again, I was like, yo. So, you know, what happened was the film director, they wanted it to sound modern, and they wanted all this like door and kicks and all these bass lines and English fusion kind of sound. And I was like, listen, if you're remaking a Pot Jattan De film, I'm making a song, desi folk, you know, like the original, but in today's sonics, with today's sonics. And the director, he was like, I don't like it, I don't want it in the film. And I was just like, well, F you, it's going in. And you know, and because the financer of the film was the person who approached me, and I said to him, I go, he don't know what he's on about, tell him to shut up. The song's going in, and these are the singers on it. And he had to fight with the Migos. Tru Skool said like, F you, so it's going in. Because I thought, do you realize what you're trying to do? You're trying to remake Pot Jattan De. It has to sound like this, or forget it. Yeah, and obviously I was right, because the song is just,
it's huge,
one of the biggest songs of, you know, in the last how many years, you know. You know, I mean, and the craziest thing was, you know, because I've studied that sound since I was a kid for many years. Janjit Ahujja sound, the percussion. I mean, I played the tabla dolki on there. I composed all the pieces. I made that song in my living room on a small keyboard and a laptop. JK was sitting there. Within 45 minutes, I composed the whole song. And
45 minutes.
Yeah, and then I had to get the musicians in to replay what I played. So Ammo from Chaos Productions, he had to replay all those mandolin pieces, you know, and he smashed it, you know, because we had to get that authentic sound. So he came through on there, and we got the Shania in there, all replayed, you know, and I play all the percussion myself and all the background instruments you hear, the door, everything I've played myself, you know, getting the vocalist in. So in the Shinda on the phone for a few days, we had to have sessions on the phone, because I was like, I had to get him back into that mode, just singing that style again, you know, because on his later recordings, his style changed a little bit. Yeah. So I was like, so I had to like do some nostalgic phone call like level things going on with him. And so he's like, so he went in and banged it out. And it's so mad. When we did the live in effect show with Surinder Shinda recently, he's saying to me, oh, that's better than the original. And I was offended when he said that. Because you can never beat that song. That's just the baddest song ever of all time. So I was like, I was arguing with him, and I went Mardi, and I was like, you can't say that. And he's like, oh, no, it's much better than original. I'm like, I was getting worked up.
I remember
even my song.
I remember we spoke on the phone. I said to you, do you realize you're arguing with the guy who done the original, who's telling you that your version is better, and you're arguing back by saying, no, mine is shit and yours is better? Like,
there's no way. You can't even say a thing like that. This song is only here because of that song. This song is not as good as that song. It's not. And he can't say that. You know what I'm saying? He can't say that. And so, yeah, I'm not having it, man. Like, that song is just the ultimate song. And it's a compliment for him to say that, but still, I'm not accepting that. But I'm proud of the song, no doubt. And you know, I know some people, you know, who've had that as their wedding entrances and things like that. And, you know, some people are saying it's their favorite song of all time. So for people to say that about something you've produced, you can't really get better than that, really.
So the track that you went with, and number one as the track that you've produced that you enjoyed the most, a lot of people will be surprised, man. It could have been Sane Wale Jong, could have been Hak Di Kamai, could have been Jag De Rehna. There's so many tunes that you haven't put in. You've gone with Fir Tenu Man Jange from the album
One Time for Your Mind.
One Time for your mind. 2016, Shock Prince. Surprising, man. Why is this your favorite track that you've produced?
Like I said, I haven't really got a favorite, but this is definitely up there, you know. I think if you look at what I said about Mama de Potshirga Brew, I think this is like a faster version. It's got the same elements. It's got the classical elements in there, and it's got the beats, the hip hop. I mean, the hip hop flavor, that bringing the New York flavor, it comes through absolutely 100% in this track, and the way it's arranged, and the way it's made, Short's voice, the composition, just the way it slams, really. And like, it's what I'm about, you know. And in terms of the programming involved in this song and stuff, you know, it's quite, you know, it's quite an articulately made song, if I do say so myself.
I was going to say, it's an album that you are really, really proud of. You know, from conversations we've had, you know, you're really proud of this album.
I'm very proud of that album, and that song is like, you know, it's like, I think the song's got a lot of depth to it musically and arrangement wise. I mean, because I was influenced in terms of me, I was obviously a hip hop producer before I was with Bhangra in the 90s, and before PMC or anyone were even came into the Bhangra scene. So when they came in, PMC and Def Jam, I really loved what they did, because they were using hip hop elements of what I was listening to and producing, and I loved Bhangra, and they were bringing Bhangra and hip hop together. And the way they put it together, the way they arranged it, it was like highly impressive. I was, you know, I loved it. So this song is something that belongs to that genre, you know. So me and Specialist were highly influenced by that genre, not because of those guys, solely because we were doing hip hop before they even came in the scene. When they entered and did what they did, people like me and Specialist and other young guys, they felt like, yo, this is music for us, you know. So we were always going to make that music as well.